Many Americans are preparing to gather at the dinner table with family and friends to celebrate Thanksgiving. But according to the group Feeding America, up to 15% of U.S. households don't know where their next meal is coming from. Joining us now, Vicki Escarra, the CEO of Feeding America, the largest supplier of American food banks. It will provide meals for over 20 million Americans this holiday season. She joins us live from Chicago. Ms. Escarra, welcome to Bloomberg News. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Ma'am, I guess there's some figures that I guess all you need to know. 43 million Americans, nearly 1 in every 7 people live in poverty. And last year's poverty rate, 14.3%, up from 39.8% in 2008. What I would gather from your perspective, these numbers don't tell the whole story, do they?
Well, you know, the numbers don't tell the whole story. When we look at what's happened to people that are struggling with hunger in America, we know that since the recession began in December of 2007, actually the number's up about 40%. And so lots and lots of people, lots of children are really struggling with this issue today.
I was going to mention, I'm glad you mentioned that, because sometimes I believe what gets lost in the equation, large numbers of those who don't have enough food to eat, who are suffering from hunger, are in fact American children.
They're American children. 1 in 4 kids in America today is living in a food insecure household, which means they don't have adequate food or enough food day in and out to live a healthy life.
What can be done to reduce hunger in America now? And from that perspective, we'll get into the volunteer aspect in just a moment, but on a legislative level, on Capitol Hill, what can be done?
Well, there's a lot that can be done. Right now, there's a bill before Congress that was passed in the Senate a couple of months ago. It's called Child Nutrition Reauthorization. The Senate actually passed the bill with $4.5 billion of new spending for children in public schools for better nutrition for free and reduced breakfast and lunch,
right,
better access to food on the weekends and in the summer. And we're waiting on the House to pass this bill. They only have a week left. And we're urging people to get involved and help us get this bill passed for kids across America.
And ma'am, I would gather too, because there is a political component to this as well. It was being held up because there was concern that some of that money might be taken from future food stamp programs. And then how do you reallocate that food stamp program going forward?
So half of the $4.5 billion was reallocated from future food stamps. We have assurances from the administration and from the president that he will go back and find that allocation later. But the real attention needs to be on Congress right now in the House to get this bill passed to help kids across America. We do a lot of research around the fact that children can't learn well if they don't have enough to eat and are hungry, and this bill needs to be passed.
Ms. Escarra, every year Feeding America conducts a hunger study. What was the most surprising statistic that came out of the latest survey?
There were a lot of surprises. I would say that we saw the numbers increase in adults across America. We served 25 million Americans, now we're serving 37 million. We were serving 9 million kids, now we're serving 14 million. You know, the numbers only tell part of the story, but the real reality is people that visited food banks for the first time increased by 67%.
That's a staggering number.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people think this issue is around the homeless population. It really is around families, and it is beginning to be around what's happening with our middle class.
You are seeing, I would imagine, given this economic climate, a lot of first-time visitors, a lot of entire families coming to food banks, correct?
No doubt. A lot of people that live in suburban environments who've lost homes, who've lost property, who may have had an illness, and so the only disposable income these families have is what they do around purchasing food, so they're coming to us for services.
As we were going to break, I was mentioning that you've had a lot of celebrities step up and answer the bell, if you will, in terms of hunger in America. And as we went to commercial break, we were seeing one of the public service announcements from the actor Matt Damon. You have some of these actors and actresses basically playing the role of average Americans and describing what their plight has been like. How has that celebrity influence helped your cause?
that is until I saw that.
Well, you know, Mark, I mean, America loves celebrities, and we are really fortunate at Feeding America. We've got just a great group of men and women that across all demographics that want to help us. Matt is fabulous, Taye Diggs, Ben Affleck. We've just had really great fortune that they want to give back. And to see them interface with real clients that are really struggling and be willing to put themselves out there really takes the stigma out of this issue and allows Americans to really understand it could happen to any of us.
You are also expressing concern about cuts to the SNAP program, and the SNAP program provides food stamps. Can you just give us a figure of how many more Americans, at least over the last couple of years or so, have had to apply for food stamps just to get meals on the table?
Sure. The number of Americans today that are using SNAP benefits is right at 42 million. It's grown by 10 million in the last few years. Huge increase that tracks very much with the recession. But we know that only 2/3 of those that qualify are actually participating. Now, SNAP benefits are great for families. They're also great for the economy because every dollar that's invested in SNAP, $1.80 goes back into every local community. So it's a really good program both for the community and for the families that need the support.
We should mention that over 85% of food banks in America are members of Feeding America. If folks out there who are watching want to get in touch with you or more information on how they can help, could you give us a sense of how they might do that?
Absolutely. Please go to our website, feedingamerica.org. You can get involved nationally, or you can go right down to the local level and give or donate or volunteer to your local food bank across the country.